So I want to close this segment with a love story. Some of you probably have already gathered that I kind of like to play golf. As a matter of fact, there's nothing I enjoy any more than getting out on that golf course and teeing that little white sucker up there and rearing back. And I don't get to play very often, so when I do, I get after it. I rear back and I bust that dude as far as I can hit it. Boom! Then if I can find it, I hit it again. Well, our son came along 10 years after our youngest daughter. And by the time he came along, I was traveling a whole lot. And so I hated to come home and kiss the wife and son goodbye. The daughters were already out of the house, and go play golf. But I love to play golf. And so I came up with an absolutely brilliant idea. I bought my wife and my son a set of golf clubs. Everybody's excited about it except my wife and my son. But they went along with me, for a few games, and after about a half dozen games, the redhead said, "Honey," said, "I just don't like to play golf. It's too hot, or it's too cold, or it's too wet, or it's too dry, it's too windy, it's too something. Just count me out." Well, then I went golf buddy number 1. But she said, "Now, you and Tom need to keep playing because he likes to spend time with you, and you like to spend time with him, so y'all be about it." Well, by the end of the summer, my boy said, "Dad," said, "I don't hardly know how to tell you this." Said, "Because I know how good you like to play golf, and you like to be with me, and Dad, I like to be with you too, but Dad, I just don't like to play golf. Now I'll go fishing with you, I'll wrestle with you, I'll throw the football with you, I'll do all these things with you, but Dad, I just don't like to play golf." So there went golf buddy number 2. Well, for the next couple of years, I didn't have much golf in my life. And then one night, I was at home. We went out to dinner. My sticks were in the trunk of the car. We rode past a driving range, the old Dow Rich driving range over here on North Central Expressway. And all of a sudden, my son said, "Dad, let's stop and hit a few." Well, my boy's a smooth talker. So we stopped to hit a few. We've been hitting a couple of minutes. He said, "Dad, let me borrow one of your woods." And so I gave him my 4-wood, and he reared back, and he busted that sucker about 40 yards further than he'd ever hit a golf ball before in his life. Now, when he turned around, that smile on his face clearly said, "Ziglar, you got yourself a golfing buddy now." The second most beautiful smile I've ever seen on that boy's face. It really was. Now, the most beautiful one was a couple of days later. We were out at the club. We were on a par 4. He took that 4-wood and he reared back and he busted that sucker right down the middle. Had a little draw on it. Hit the ground running like a scared rabbit. Stopped dead center. Perfect position right in the middle of the fairway. Get down there and he takes his 5-iron, and just like you see the pros do, he kept his head down, smooth stroked it. That sucker took off, landed as soft as a butterfly with sore feet on that green. He's about 40 feet from the pin. He's hunting his bird. Now, if you're not a golfer, that means if he sinks the putt, he is 1 under par on this hole. If you don't know what that means, it means he done good, okay? So I showed him how to line up, and I showed him how to stroke it, and just like that ball had eyes, it went straight to the bottom of that cup. When that ball hit the bottom of that cup, that boy jumped straight up in there about 6 feet. Still beat me to the ground by 4 seconds. I'm telling you, you're talking about excitement. This was, as he would say today, a time of great rejoicing. I grabbed that boy and hugged him. We did a victory dance there for a couple of minutes, and all of a sudden it occurred to me that I had a problem. I was on the green in 2 also. I was only about 8 or 10 feet from the pin. I was hunting my bird. Now, I knew if I missed it, he'd figure I'd done it on purpose so he could win. That would have given him a cheap victory, which in the final analysis is quite a loss. So I determined that I was going to do the very best I possibly could, so that if I did miss it, then I could honestly say, "Son, you won it fair and square." Now, my best effort always includes a little providential help, which I believe is perfectly legitimate, even on the golf course, maybe especially on the golf course. Well, anyhow, I lined it up, and just like the ball had eyes, it went straight to the bottom of that cup. I had my bird. Now, before I reached down to pick it up, I looked at my son and I said, now, son, tell me the truth. Were you pulling for Dad? Now, I think you know what it would have meant had I missed. He was 11 years old. He had never beaten me in a hole of golf. It would have meant an awful lot. And yet, calmly but firmly, without any hesitation, my boy looked at me and he said, Dad, I always pull for you. Folks, that's love. That's pure love. That's what we need more of in Dallas, Texas, Seattle, Washington, Brooklyn, New York, Miami, Florida. It's what we need in every home, in every county, in every state in this union. It's what we need in every organization where when we're dealing, whether it's a salesperson selling or whether it's a manager trying to guide and instruct the individual, whether it's a husband and wife relationship, whatever the relationship is, and we're trying to persuade them to do something, if we can honestly and legitimately pull for them to take the action that we're encouraging them to do, and we're encouraging them to take the action because it's in their best interest. At that instant, you become more professional, more proficient, more effective, more of a genuine, loving, caring human being. Because somebody else said it long ago and said it so well. People don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care about them. There is the difference. Treat your husband, your wife, your child, your employee this way.